Welcome back. Now, in this section, let me summarize what we have done so far and also give you an example from our tool VMDL. And in this case, I have chosen a particular simulation of a membrane protein and how in the substrate of the background particles in a cell, how it behaves. And primarily because in these kinds of interaction, the electronic structure becomes very important, because we are talking about membranes which are very thin, and then there is an interaction happening in this hydrocarbon situation, and then you want to look at what happens to this membrane as it expands itself from different locations. So, let us look at that first, and then I will get back on understanding of what we need to understand about the different potential function models. So, let us start. Let me first set it up for you, and here what we are going to do, let me get the magnification going. So, this is if you look at, let me make this full screen. So, here is you are looking at the small membrane protein which is in the substrate of all the other molecules, let us say substrate of water molecules or any other such system. What you want to see, how does that interacts with the surface and the other atoms around it and finds its equilibrium properties as well as equilibrium configuration. So, let us see what all we can do. This is no atoms. So, you can see that how the trajectories are put together, but let me put them back. So, you look at that. Now, this is a movie. So, you are seeing temperature versus time, potential energy versus time, then no. So, you are looking at the 3 versus time, which are, and then you are also looking at the other situation, other atoms versus time. So, now what we are going to do is let it run and see what happens. So, let me first look at energy versus time. So, we will start with that. So, if you look at, let me stop here. So, you can see that this particular membrane protein, which is a long chain hydrocarbon, is now expanding and trying to find its equilibrium position and interacting with all the other atoms around it. Now, if you look at this, this is a long chain. So, it has expanded itself and then put together, it is now interacting and also finding the place where it will minimize its energy to the minimum. Now, for simulating something like that, you do need much more sophisticated potential, as we discussed, and also that potential has to have intra and inter atomic potential. So, intra between the big atoms that you are looking here, the yellow ones and the red ones and some of the green ones, but this hydrocarbon chain is connected by bond between them. So, it is not going to break out. However, it is going to move around as a chain to find the right configuration, that is the minimum energy. And if you look at on your screen, the minimum energy curve is going down. This is where the minimization is happening for this system. Now, you can see that it has found its way to expand itself. Now, it's gone quite a bit in the lowest energy level, but the question is that the lowest energy that we can find. So, if you look at, this is the place, and again this is not full simulation. So, you are seeing how from a very tiny protein, now this whole carbon chain has expanded itself and now gone into the substrate of the other atoms and found its equilibrium or minimum energy configuration. And that is how the nature essentially optimizes itself, by working around all the forces and finding the optimum position where it has the minimum energy, and so there is no more further changes. However, these are flexible atoms. So, they will always be moving around in the substrate, they will be interacting with the water. So, if you look at in the cell, which has lots of hydrocarbons around it and also DNA in it, and there is a nucleus, there is a membrane. So, if you look at human cell, that has this is talking about the membrane protein, how it behaves and how it folds, how it creates different kinds of twists and turns. That is one of the issues that you need to look at in terms of different kinds of potential function model. So, choice of potential function model for this kind of biochemistry situation is very important. So, now that you understand all kinds of different models, number one, you need to have non-bonded as well as bonded, and in this case bonded is important and configuration is important. So, you need to know all the force constant for bending, stretching, rotation, because as you saw in this case it is, and I will run it again, it is bending, rotating, moving quite a bit. And so, for you to simulate that whole minimum energy configuration is very important idea to follow. So, this is where we start, and let me now change one more parameter, let us say temperature versus time, and see what happens to temperature as it finds the minimum energy. So, now you can see that the temperature is being held constant. So, you know that it is connected with a thermostat, and that has to be what kind of ensemble? That is a canonical ensemble, because it is TVN ensemble, and that is where you cut back to it. So, now at this point I think we know broadly right from the very simple potential functions like a Hart sphere, all the way to very complicated potential like Carper-Rennie law method for first principle calculations and first principle functions that you can use with the density function approximation. And that is where you now get into what we call is quantum mechanical definition of the system. So, so that is where it gives you full definition. However, that as you go to the full definition of atomic structure and atomic behavior with the charge density as well as the wave functions around that atomic structure, it becomes very expensive to do. And I think that is where these systems are not used very often. They are used for very specific purpose in conjunction with some of the things like simulated annealing, where you may use Monte Carlo method to do the simulated annealing. So, you have now a lot of machinery to work with in terms of both understanding different kinds of potential functions, also understanding what different thermodynamic behaviors you want, you also understand ensembles that you want to use, and now you understand how you are going to take care of some of the higher level of complexities and understanding of the accurate behavior of the atoms and their systems within the parameters that you want to look at. But again, it depends on what question you are trying to answer. So, if the question is very simple, that I want to first find out what happens to things like krypton and xenon, which is ideal gases, where do they melt, Lennard-Jones is pretty good. If you say that I just want to look at the elastic coefficient of copper, you can say EAM potential is very good, many body potential, you can calculate that. Say I want to just look at simple hydrocarbon chain, just like we did in VMDL of a membrane chain, you can use very simple inter and intra potential. The inter will be with Lennard-Jones, intra will be with all kinds of force field models of different kinds of force constant and bending, stretching, rotation, etc. And that is when now you need to figure out is that okay, now that I have that machinery, how do I look at transport coefficients. So, that is where we are going to go in the next sections. We are going to look at the Green-Kubo formulation for the transport coefficient of material, and those transport coefficients essentially mean that you can find the viscosity of this system, you can find things like thermal conductivity, you can find about different also diffusion of different kinds. So, these anything, if you provide a pressure, then there is a ripple of the pressure. If you provide temperature, then there is ripple of temperature. If you provide temperature and pressure, and if you connect them and make them constant. So, if you are keeping the pressure constant, then within particular fluctuation the temperature can affect the system. If you keep the temperature constant and you have change in the pressure, then there will be change in the material, so there will be density fluctuation. So, there are different kinds of fluctuation, thermal fluctuation, density fluctuation, structural fluctuation. And so, now with this system, now we can probe very deep even into the fluctuation phenomena, which connects us with the transport coefficient. Reason they are very important, because that defines how the system will move from one state to another state in the state space, and those transport coefficient are essentially the one responsible for all these different mechanisms. Thank you.